Commander of the 11th Division of the 6th Command in the Ethiopian National Defense Forces, Mokwanen Dese, discloses that the Ethiopian government had given orders to launch an offensive against Tigray. The commander, who was captured by Tigrayan forces, also states that he and his forces were told that Eritrean too would join the military attack. Wintakidana reports.
This is Colonel Mokwanen Dese. He was a commander to the 11th Division of the 6th Command in Ethiopian Army. He has been captured in the fighting his and other divisions launched on the Tigray forces in the southern front on August 21st. Ever since, he has been held as a prisoner of war. He testifies that the Ethiopian government was responsible for breaking the humanitarian truce by ordering and launching an attack in all fronts.
ቆባ የሚባል ቀበሌ ወይም 032 ቀበሌ የሚባል በጁሞዶ እና በጠባበር አድርገህ በመሮዋ እና ወደ ዛታ አድርገህ ስንደዶበር የሚባለው ድረስ እስከዛ ድረስ ያለው ያሸዋ ገበታ ልምምድ አድርገንበታል። ካሁን በፊት በዛ አድርገን አጥቅተን ያው በሁሉም ግንባር እሱ ካጠቃ በሁሉም ግንባር ማጥቃት እንዳለብን ማጥቃት እንደሚችል የመንግስት አቋም በዛ ተወስኖ ሁሉም ክፍሎች እሱ ካጠቃ በዚህ ማጥቃት እንደሚቻል ዝግጅት ያደረጉ እንደሆነ ይሄ ግዳጅ ተሰጥቷል። እኛ ግን በወቅቱ የተሰጠን ግዳጅ እነዚህ ክፍሎች ግዳጁን ሲፈጽሙ እኛ ምሽግ በመከላከል የማስከበር ስራ ነው። ይሄኛው በመረዋ አቅጣጫ ያለው እንዳለ ሆኖ ሌላኛው እዝ ደግሞ 8ኛ እዝ ባሸዋ ገበታው የተለማመደበት በቢሶበር አድርጎ ቦምሆኒን ወደ ግራ በመተው ወደ አድቀየ አቅጣጫ የመውጣት ነው የነበረው እሱ ነው።
The captured colonel says he and his fellow commanders were told by higher officials of the government that the Eritrean government would launch an attack on Tigray in any direction it deemed convenient.
ሌላኛው ይሄ ማጥቃት ስንጀምር ሻቢያም ባለበት ግንባር በራማ ሊሆን ይችላል በዛላምበሳ ባይጋ እና በዚህ በበራሃይሌ ሊሆን ይችላል እሱም በመረጠው አቅጣጫ እሱም ማጥቃት እንደሚችል
The captured colonel also says the Ethiopian government has been forcing youngsters to join the war by imposing quotas on different administrations throughout the country. He adds that the Ethiopian government has been using child soldiers in the war.
አንዳንዴ ወደ ሰራዊቱ መጥቶ ምልምል መጥቶ ስንቀበል ቅስቀሳዎች እናደርጋለን። በራስ ፍላጎት ሀገራዊ ስሜትና ፍቅር ይዞን ነው የመጣን እንጂ ተገደና መጣንም ይላሉ። አይነም ይታወቀው ምንድነው ያመላመሉ በየክልሉና በየዞኑ በየወረዳው ምን ያክል ወጣት እንዲመለመል ኮታ ይሰጣል። በዛ ኮታ መሰረት ነው ተመልምሎ የሚመጣ ይመስለኝ እንጂ በተጨባጭ አሁን ዝም ብለህ ቅስቀሳ ስታደርግ የሆነ ነገር ስታደርግ ተገድጄ መጥቻለሁ እኔ ብሎ የሚል የለም። ነገር ግን በውትድርናው ጸንቶ ያለመቆየቱ የሚያሳየው ነገር ደግሞ ሲከዳት ያያለ ከድሜ በታች አሉ ከድሜ በታች አሁን መመዘኛው መስፈርቱ አንድ ወታደር ወደ ውትድርና እንዲቀጠር የሚፈልግ ከ18 አመት በላይ ነው። ግን አልፎ አልፎ ከዛ በታች ሆኑ ልጆች አሉ። አንዳንዴ ትጥቅ ለማስታጠቅም የሆነ አንድ ወታደር መሸከም የሚገባውን ሎድ ላለማሸከም ብለ ስለማይችሉ ዝምብለን ስታፍ አካባቢ በወፖ በተለያየ ነገር የምናስቀምጣቸው አሉ።
On Friday, Global Society of Tigray Scholars and Professionals sent an open letter to President of the United States of America, Joe Biden, asking for an immediate intervention to bring an end to the war on Tigray. The society called on the United States to put all the pressure, unnecessary pressure, on the Ethiopian government to bring about an immediate cessation of hostilities and for a sanction to be imposed on the Ethiopian government and its allies for extending the conflict in the region. Salome Taklai reports.
On Friday, Global Society of Tigray Scholars and Professionals sent an open letter to the President of the United States, Joe Biden, calling for an immediate action to bring an end to the war on Tigray. The society highlighted that the world's failure to take tangible action against the actors perpetuating the war on Tigray could lead to further catastrophic outcomes like that of the Rwandan genocide and other worst conflicts around the world. GSTS also stated that the new round of war launched by the joint forces will likely worsen the already devastated humanitarian crisis in Tigray, where over 6 million people remain cut off from the rest of the world. The letter also mentioned that the United States, United Nations, and the African Union are responsible for failing to avert the eruption of a new round of war, while expressing its fears that the resumption of hostilities may lead to the death of more civilians and mass atrocities. The society urged the president to put all necessary pressure on the government of Ethiopia to call off its military offensive, lift the all-encompassing siege imposed on the people of Tigray, and withdraw all invading forces from Tigrayan territories and implement an immediate cessation of hostilities. The letter also requested on the president for a sanction to be imposed against the Ethiopian government and its allies under the authority listed in the September 17, 2021 executive order, which authorized the Secretary of Treasury to sanction bodies that extend the crisis in northern Ethiopia or obstruct peace process. Finally, the society called on the United States to establish a mechanism by which perpetrators of crimes can be held accountable and victims affected by the war could be supported.
In memory of their loved ones, families and friends, victims of the airstrike conducted on a children's playground last week held a candlelight vigil on Friday. The aerial attack claimed the lives of at least 7 civilians, including children, while injuring scores more. Aligo reports.
Families and friends of victims held in memory of their lost victims of the aerial bombardment in one of the most tragic days the city of Mekelle would see. The prayer and candlelight program was held in the presence of religious leaders and the mayor of the city. One of the families of victims whose 2 children died of the airstrike, Haftam Gabrahewet, described the horrific event in his own words as follows.
Following the brutal aerial bombardment carried out here, my 2 children became victims of it. The first one of my sons who died is Barakat Haftam, a 10-year-old child. The other one is 7-year-old child, Aryam Haftam, who in God's will managed to survive. However, she has been terribly injured. They just became victims of the airstrike while playing here in our presence. It's really heartbreaking. It beats me to know why the international community is idly watching.
On the memorial ceremony held to commemorate the victims of the aerial bombardment, Yitbarak Amaha, a mayor of Mekelle City, has given a speech to Mekelle residents and families of the victims as follows. Such a wicked action is nothing new for the Abiy Ahmed's regime. As it is well known, he has continued to exterminate Tigrayans by inviting foreign invaders from Eritrea, drones from United Arab Emirates and many other countries for as long as 8 months in Tigray. However, he has failed to do so. Secondly, Abiy has also imposed a brutal siege on Tigray for over 14 months now, leaving millions of Tigrayans to suffer due to lack of food and medical supply. Currently, he has also launched a new round of attack against our forces to re-invade Tigray and commit yet another round of atrocities, thinking we are weakened by the starvation. We are now defending our people and our existence. Children whom we met commemorating the prayer and candlelight ceremony also say that they have lost their dearest friends and schoolmates due to the atrocious aerial bombardment conducted by the Ethiopian fighter jets on a broad daylight.
We're remembering the lost souls like Dawit, Barakat, Sami, and the others who lost their lives on the day due to aerial strike while playing in the playground. Our aspirations as children is to do good and help our family and our country. Our friends were here on a place where there is no military base. Abiy Ahmed dropped bombs on them just only for their ethnicity. May their souls rest in peace. Though we all have the right to learn, schools have been closed because of the war declared in Tigray. Therefore, we call on the world to open its eyes wide and see us. Today, we are here to extend our condolences to families and friends of victims due to an airstrike carried out by the Abiy regime. We children require love, peace, and happiness. Our beloved friends like Barakat, Thomas, and others became the victims of such gruesome atrocity for no reason. I'm so sad about it. Abiy's regime is now back to its true colors. And like the other parts of the country, we Tigrayan children are suffering from lack of food and medical supplies.
Dawit, Thomas, Sami, Barakat.
Dawit, Thomas, Sami, and Barakat have died due to the aerial attack. Thus, we are here to commemorate the memorial service all together. I was learning here during the bombardment. After having heard the dreadful sound, I just came out and found out that my friends were dead. At that time, their body parts were torn apart. It was really shocking. Henceforth, I'm here to express my condolences to their family members.
Families and friends of the victims also called on the international community to hear the voice of Tigrayan children who are losing their lives due to the brutal aerial attacks by the Ethiopian government for irrelevant reasons.
A new wave of mass detention of Tigrayans has started in the capital Addis Ababa, following the eruption of a new round of war between Tigrayan forces and the Ethiopian government. Tigrayan residents of Addis Ababa that spoke with Tigray television stated that the Ethiopian government is detaining ethnic Tigrayans, including children, the elderly, and people with chronic illnesses. Let's take a look at the report. Living conditions in IDP centers across Tigray continue to deteriorate as the Ethiopian government maintains the comprehensive siege for 14 months now. Our reporters visit IDPs sheltered in Sabakari IDP camp who say that living conditions have become beyond bearable as they are unable to access medical supplies and the aid they received remains far from being sufficient. Let's take a look at Meron Yaman's report.
This is Letta Kuhel. She's a mother of 5 currently sheltered in Sa'akari IDP camp in Ma'ala after being forcibly displaced from Kombolcha, Amhara region. She tells us even though she managed to escape the extrajudicial killing of Tigrayans in the Amhara region and arrived to Ma'ala safely, the living conditions in the IDP center are below substandard. She says that it's very difficult to live in a shelter made of plastic during the current rainy season.
We've been suffering since the start of the rainy season. It's extremely cold as we don't have many clothes to wear. Water leaks through the plastic tents we live in. On top of that, there are lice everywhere, so we are just sleeping on the floor.
Letakiros says these conditions have been even more difficult for her as she is an HIV-positive patient who needs a continuous antiretroviral therapy. She says she couldn't find the medication necessary for her survival.
I am HIV positive, and I am yet to find any medication. I have been searching for my medication everywhere, but I couldn't find any.
Her agony doesn't end here. The all-encompassing siege has made life difficult for Letakiros and her 5 children as they are unable to receive food aid, exposing them to severe starvation. In addition to that, she says she and the other IDPs in the shelter have found it very difficult to get potable water.
There is no food. We're starving. It's been 3 months since we received food aid, and that's not enough at all. We've been out of food for a while now. As for water, we are drinking non-potable water fetched from the rain. We just drink it, hoping that we won't get sick.
Letakiros is one of the millions of IDPs currently at the brink while the world watches idly by.
And that's it news for now. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.